Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Accidental Isolation, where I like to bring on a guest to speak about a moment in their life where they may have found themselves isolated, whether that be physically, mentally, or emotionally. Today we got legendary South Carolina coach, man, Coach Proctor.
What's going on? What's going on?
Yes, sir, man. So first, I like to thank all my guests, right? Because everybody's
Gotcha.
time is important,
Gotcha.
especially you. You're in the middle of track season, so I want to thank you for giving me the time today to speak with you.
Ain't no problem at all, man. I appreciate you reaching out to me, bro.
Yes, sir. So I like to bring on guests because I feel like we all learn through stories. And this is one person in my life that I've learned through a lot of his stories. He was one of my coaches in high school, track and football. And I know he has a lot of great stories and a lot of great life experiences that, just like me, many of you can learn from. So I want to bring him on, just like I said, to tell us a few of his stories. And hopefully you guys be able to learn from it. So we'll get started with just a little bit about you. I know who Coach Proctor is, but tell the listeners who you are, where you're from, things like that.
Right. What's going on, family? Again, Charles Proctor, Coach Proctor, Coach CP. However you want to play it. Um, Military brat. I was born in Alaska. Traveled around. I was basically raised in South Carolina, though we moved down here in December '97. Yeah, and I've been here the majority of the time. Moved away again to Germany for about a year and a half. Came back, finished playing ball and running track in high school here in Columbia, South Carolina. I went to Richland Northeast High School. 100-meter state champion 2004, two-time AAU national champion in '98 and in 2000. Uh, had the amazing opportunity to gain athletic scholarship to Coastal Carolina University. Ran up under Coach Vault, who was my sprint coach there, and yeah, man. And then started coaching around 2007. Got my first head coaching job in 2012, and look, I've been rolling ever since then, man.
Yes, sir, man. It's a blessing. I'm glad you were able to do all the things you were, so you can come into our lives, and especially at Keenan, we needed you. We needed
Oh,
just
look here, man. That was an amazing. I spent 8 years at Keenan, man, and it was a ball. I was able. Keenan fed me so much. Like I got way more out of being around the kids and the employees at Keenan than I believe that y'all got from me. Like the same way y'all were pulling things, extracting things from me and my stories. Like man, y'all were helping me through difficult times at different portions of my life so much that y'all never really knew.
yeah.
And so, man, Keenan will always have a special place in my heart, and y'all will always have a special place in my heart, bro.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate that, man. Like I said, I'm excited. I'm excited for all the guests that come on, but especially this one. This one's personal. Like I said, I knew him. He coached us, especially in a vulnerable time in our lives, high school. Right, most everybody goes through things during high school. So I was
Right.
glad to be able to have someone like him to guide us, along the way. So we'll go ahead and get started. Right, you know the definition of accidental isolation. So as
Correct,
the
correct.
viewers. So let's talk about one or a few of those moments in your life. Can you point out a time where you may have felt isolated?
Well, shoot, mine. I mean, my biggest one is probably my biggest life, and I say to this day, it's probably still my biggest life lessons. That's flunking out of college.
Okay.
And I didn't even know that I was isolating myself, but I mean the ramifications from my actions, which led for me not returning back to Coastal, man, had such a lasting effect. Um, and it was due to only actions by me. It was nothing else. Like I had amazing coaches and mentors on campus. They did the yeah, y'all know them.
Advisors?
Yeah,
Academic,
the
yeah,
academic
okay.
advisors. Look, she was amazing. She did everything possible that she could. Bro, I just did not handle business in the classroom. Coastal Carolina, I tell people all the time, if you are not a strong student, please do not take your butt up there.
Party school.
Look here, that beach will eat you alive. Look, Wednesday through Sunday, I was out. If it was a party, you was going to CCP there. And I took advantage of everything that college had to offer, except the academic piece of it.
Yeah.
And you get the warnings. As athletes, you get the warnings. You get the you get the certain act, you get the probation, you get on probation, and hell, when you're an athlete, you get another chance after probation. Like, look, if you're gonna go to college, please be an athlete, boy. You get so many chances. They look out so much, but I mean, I just kept exhausting all my chances, and my 9 lives ran out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I remember getting the phone call, when I was home over winter break that I was going to be academically ineligible to run. And so I could have went back to school.
Yeah.
But I was one of those guys who, which, for the guys that I've been in athletics, I knew what to do and what I could get away with enough for to where they wouldn't jump on me because my grades was bad. You know what I'm saying? That don't work in college. That don't work. And so, terrible study habits, which was basically non-existent and things of that nature. And so that led to me being academically ineligible, and then me making the decision to not go back to school.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the worst decisions I've ever made in my life, was not taking the opportunity to go back, rectify things academically to put myself in position. And so I stayed home, and I ended up training with Sylvanus Hepburn, who trained multiple Olympians and world champions like Alan Johnson, Lucinda Demas, Tiffany Ross Williams, Ron Bramlett, Otis Harris Jr., Monique Hennigan, like from all my track people, y'all, like he had some smoke down here in Columbia. And so, I said, you know what? I ran some decent times in high school. I was nationally ranked. You know what? College just ain't work for me. Forget it. I'm going to try this pro route.
Yeah, just go pro.
Look, that is the dumbest damn thing I could have ever thought of. I was not fast enough whatsoever. I don't know why my mind was allowing me. And I had extremely supportive parents that was like, you know what? My family called me Charlie. You know what, Charlie? You know what? This is what you want to do for basically for a semester.
Yeah.
Give it a try. All right, bet. And afterwards, you need to figure out some school situation or whatever.
Gotta get out of here.
And so, tried it. Terrible. My lifestyle was not conducive to being a high caliber athlete. Yeah. And what I'm meaning is I still was partying like I was at Coastal. And so I'm doing everything that you're not supposed to be doing when you're trying to be a high caliber athlete. And so, that just led to more injuries and things of that nature. And so track and field really was a bust for me. After a few years, I went from being a nationally ranked high school kid with a lot of promise to basically just falling off the map. And I could not handle that.
Yeah.
During the time, I just had my daughter, so I'm starting a young family, and bro, nothing was more important to me than running track.
Yeah.
Like, and it like I'm an adult now, so I can say it, and I've had a conversation with my kids, so they know. Like, but I was just in a space where it was nothing more important.
Yeah.
And so to not have that, dog, my life was in shambles, and I really didn't know how to handle it. But I also didn't even know that was probably the cause of a lot of issues that I was having just in life in general. Like I was depressed.
Yeah.
Because track had been my girlfriend since I was 12 years old. Like
whole life.
I didn't really do relationships in high school, and I tell a person quick, like, track is my girlfriend. Like, it's what it is. We can be friends. We can kick it. You know what I'm saying? But there's nothing ever that's going to be in front of that. So when that was taken away by me,
you didn't know what to do.
You know what I'm saying? I was totally lost. Totally lost. And I tell my kids, and I told y'all, that was a 10-year effect on me. To where, like, it literally took me 10 years to recover from that. And it wasn't until I got a little older to where I can start diving back into some things that was going on. It was like, oh, this is why you were doing this. This is why you were doing that. This is why you were doing that. And so, I tell people anytime, and I still Coach Vault is still one of my dear friends. Like, I can call him up literally while we're on here right now. He'll answer, and he's still a big portion of my life. I love him to death. Him suspending me from the team for a few times, and then him giving me that phone call, like, that was the best thing that could happen for me. Because before then, my shit ain't stink.
Yeah, no better.
I could do what I want. I get away with it. I'm Charles Proctor. Y'all gonna give me another chance.
Exactly.
You can't do this without me. And I saw them win a conference championship without me.
That hurt the most.
That shit broke me, boy. Broke me, because you won a conference championship with the kids who... I was a host my freshman year. Like, you typically don't have freshmen. I was a host.
Junior year, really, maybe sophomore if you're good enough.
The same kids I got to commit
won it
were the same ones he wanted without me. Oh, that shit hurt. It hurt, man. And so it just sent me. So of course I'm present with everything, but I really ain't there
mentally and emotionally.
I'm a shell of myself. I'm drinking thinking I'm partying and everything like that. But no, really, I was trying to get away.
Exactly. You're trying to cope.
Yeah, it was a
Cover it
huge coping mechanism for me.
Distractions.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
plenty of them, and none worked.
They're not.
None
you got to
worked.
solve the issues that's at hand.
None worked, bro.
So let's dive back into it, right?
Okay. Yep.
So nationally ranked, we're in high school.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Like you said, your shit don't stink.
Right.
You're Charles Proctor.
Yep.
Nobody can tell you anything.
Yep.
You get this opportunity to go to Coastal.
Mm-hmm.
Great coach at Coastal. Right. We get there. We're freshmen. We're partying. It's a party school. We're partying, right?
Yep.
And that's all right. It's okay to party a little bit.
Moderation. Keep
moderation.
it moderation.
Exactly. We know what our focus is though, track.
Correct.
When you were there, when you were partying, you're not academics is falling behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did that affect your track schedule? Were you still, going to practice? Were you still working hard? Were you still doing everything you're supposed to do on the track level?
Still was going to practice, but then the thing was I started having injuries that I never had before.
Exactly. Because the body isn't taken care of right now.
And I couldn't understand why.
Mm-hmm.
You go from being in a household with rules, and I wasn't staying out all times of night. Like I had some freedom, but it was a certain time I had to be in that house. Yeah, regardless. Wasn't coming in the house. I wasn't drunk. Like what? I wish my parents would smell some liquor on me. Like that shit wasn't happening. Mm-hmm. And so now that I'm able to come in when I want, so I'm not getting any sleep.
Yeah.
We're college students. We're freshmen. We buying the cheapest liquor we can find, and we're trying to drink all of it. So you're drunk all the time. Your muscles are extremely dehydrated. I'm drinking more of that than water.
Yeah. So you're really not hydrated at all.
None. So I'm having these injuries, knick-knack injuries, and as soon as I get over one, another one. As soon as I get over one, another one. So I placed that conference as a freshman. Okay. Ran slow as hell, but I placed.
With indoor? So is this still
outdoors.
fall or
No,
outdoors?
This is outdoors. So Coastal doesn't have a men's indoor track program.
Okay.
So there was one of those schools to where the women have it, but the men don't have the indoor.
So you went through the whole fall.
So I ran indoors. So I just ran unattached.
Okay.
I ran a meter too. Okay. Came down here to Carolina when Carolina had the bubble, the old track. Came down here, lit that up. You know what I'm saying? And so, I was on track, coach, from what we were doing in the fall and what I ran indoor. We knew we was on track to have a pretty good season. Okay. Started having knick-knack injuries as soon as I came back from winter break. Okay. Well, I spent the last 3 weeks
drinking,
doing winter breaks and hardly training. At least in the fall, I was training.
Yeah, every day.
Every day, going to the training room and stuff like that. So during the winter, and so knick-knack injuries started happening. So I ran my whole freshman semester hurt. Whether it was a groin or a hamstring or a quad, it was always something.
And what was that doing to CP? The one that nobody knew,
it was killing me because I was losing.
Yeah.
I was losing, and I'm like, I was not used to that. My senior year, I lost one race in 100. One, the whole season. And so to get to college, and everybody tells you, look, you're everybody on your team is a state champion. Yeah. You're not special. Blah blah blah. Fuck no, I'm talking about yes, I am. You're tripping.
I'm gonna be special.
Yes, and I happened to prove at our inter squad meet, I was the fastest sprinter. Okay. And so my chest out.
Yeah, I'm a freshman and I'm fastest.
But we get outdoor, and I'm getting taxed week after week after week, and then there's injuries, so you can't run this week. They resting you a few days, running you off this week, resting you a few days, running you. Because y'all know during the season, unless it's like a catastrophic injury, man, they trying to do their best to get you back out there, and you ain't 100% healthy. And so it's patchwork here, run them. Patchwork here, run them. I remember my coach tried to hold me out. I begged him. Matter of fact, he was at indoor nationals with our female triple jumper, Chastity, I believe that's her name. Please, if I'm wrong, please forgive me. And I called him while he was in. Please let me run 100. We had just lost a 4x1. I got to stick behind. I walked a few people down. I felt good with the leg sleeve on. Please let me run 100. Please let me run 100. I was supposed to run a 4. And I was like, Coach, we can't lose 100. We at home. These boys done beat us in the 4x1 like this is a pride thing. Yeah, ego. And look, my ego was all the way up there. And he's like, Charles, no. We hung the phone up. I called his ass back. You got to let me run, Coach. And I think he just got so tired of me, like, fuck it, go run.
He's like, go run it. He knew you would teach yourself a lesson.
70 meters in, pop, gone. Limp through the line. My dad come grab me. So I crossed the finish, limp through the finish line. And the way Coastal was, if you run through, we had a little extra track after the 100, you run off the gate open, you get into the grass. Man, I jogged all the way through there, went to the grass, lay down. My dad came over there, and he was just like, he told your ass not to run the 100, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it was just, and so me trying to feed the ego, put myself in a bad situation, hurt. Sitting out for a week. So matter of fact, I didn't even get a spring break because that was the meet right before the week of spring break.
So you was there just recovering.
Saturday, I came home after the meet because I was just like, look, I got to take my mind off of this. I got to come home, get around them fellas, kick it with my people. Came home. My dad took me right back up there Monday morning because I had to be at rehab at 8:00.
Yeah, you gonna be there.
And so like I spent the whole winter. I spent the whole spring break. Like I'm at the beach and I can't enjoy the beach.
Yeah.
Cause my leg is propped up. I got ice. I got to be in the training room twice a day with these appointments. And so I mean, it was just, it was. Look, that did something to me mentally because I never was not him. Like the young boys say, I'm him. In my mind, I never was not him until that happened, and I did not know how to handle being second place. And it was worse than second. It was third, fourth, fifth, sixth, not placing at all sometimes.
Limping
but
through.
It was you weren't him anymore. And boy, it did a lot to my confidence, boy. A lot, and it took a long time to recover from that.
So even through high school, when you were winning all these races, were you obviously personality is something you can't change.
Correct.
Right? You've dealt with athletes as a coach, and you notice they got that I'm him attitude.
Yep.
And you try to teach them through your experience, like, hey, I know this could lead. You never want to take an athlete's confidence away.
Right.
But you want to teach them how to use it.
Correct.
Right. Going through high school, right? You're cocky. I know you're cocky. I love it. It helped us it gave us confidence that you had so much confidence in you as a coach and in us as athletes, right? So that's not something no one wanted to change. But did you have someone in high school to try to even kill, like Coach McCullum would say, stay even kill? Did you have someone that would try to kill, or even in Coastal?
All of them. Look, my first coach was my father. Understand? And so me and him together won the national title. Won the 400, the AAU 12 and under.
Okay.
National championship in the 400 in '98. And he saw it then.
Yeah.
And and so Charlie, continue to work hard. Always know there's somebody out there faster than you. There's somebody out when you ain't working, when you're around here bullshitting, somebody out there grinding. And so he would always get that. And then I started running track for Richland Northeast in the 7th grade.
Okay.
Well, I was still in middle school, and so Corey Head was my sprint coach there. But at the time we had Aries Curry, who was a little bit older than me, who ended up playing football at Clemson and ended up going to play for the Bears.
Okay.
So Aries was who I looked up to. Aries didn't talk a lot. He wasn't one of them, but you knew when he was around. And when he beat you, he let you know. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm looking at that, and I'm like, he don't talk enough for me. He talk a little bit, so I want to do that. But I want to take this further.
Yeah, I want people to know.
So, like, I crossed the finish line in 7th grade. I'll never forget it. And I did the dirty. That's when the dirty bird was popping. While I'm out here doing my dirty bird like I play for the Falcons. Boy, Corey cussed me out so bad. Don't you ever do that, blah, 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 blah. And I did it because the older boys set me up. They're like, man, well, if you win, you got to do the dirty bird, man. I didn't know I was going to get cussed out for it. But, like, Corey used to kind of always humble me. And then when I got to high school, when I got back to Richland Northeast my junior year, John Javis, who was, again, I have an amazing father. In my opinion, my dad is the best father in the world.
It's a great opinion to have.
John Javis is such a father figure to me. Wasn't like I needed a father figure in my life. He just implanted himself in my life in such a way, and we just connected so well. Like, I talked to him yesterday. He was at a track meet, and he called me to tell me about how my daughter ran. Yeah. And, just, coaching me on how to handle that. And so he used to always tell me, same thing, Charles, you're good, but it's motherfuckers out there that's better than you. And so the same way that I will go sit and see my kids now, like, Coach, I'm him. I ran this, that, and the third. I'll pull up the national rankings. Yeah. Where you ranked? Where you at? You're not him. Stop it. You good here. You good. So I had people that would try to curtail the ego that CP had. But man, that shit ain't work, man. The more I won, it was just like I forgot that little child movie, but it's like the more he ate, the monster grew. And it was the more I won, boy, the head was just
bigger and bigger.
And you couldn't tell. And boy, when that pen bust that balloon.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Look, yeah.
So what would you say, like, when so now we know why.
Correct.
We know why the confidence is there.
Correct.
Right? Because a lot of people have confidence that's not earned.
Right.
Right? We had confidence that was earned.
Correct. You had to. You couldn't be around me with that confidence if you ain't earned it. We ain't play that.
So I as a CP, I deserve to talk my shit. I can do that.
Correct.
I'm ranked. I'm winning. I'm not losing. Right? And we get to college and it's like, all right, we party a little bit. I'm seeing the partying affecting me a little bit, but it's all right. I'm CP. I'm running. I'm losing a couple,
Yep.
right? I'm getting hurt a little bit.
Yep.
All right. It's eating me a little bit, but it's not cause for any drastic mental indifferences, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not killing me just yet. I'm a little upset, right? Especially as an athlete, no one likes to lose. But then now it's like, pop, I can't even run anymore, or I can't even place anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That had a huge effect on you. So going forward, right, we got all these injuries. We finishing up our freshman year. I'm not placing. I understand what I'm doing wrong-ish. I understand it probably. I'm not changing it necessarily. I'm still partying, still doing what I want to do.
Yep.
Because I might not know the exact correlation just yet. Like I see it,
Right.
but I'm CP. I just didn't know what I had to do. Now I know what I got to do. I can keep partying. I can keep doing what I do, and I'll fix it right.
Yep.
Going through, we get in the summer.
Yep.
Party slowing down.
Yep.
Not necessarily because we wanted to,
Right.
but because we can't.
Correct.
Right. So we're not quite there at that maturity or that understanding that I don't need to do this. It's
Correct.
just my access to it is limited. All right, so we're going through freshman year, right? So we went through both summer programs, get my grades right. The grades are right now.
The grades are up. We're good.
We back eligible.
We're good.
Right. So now, possibly, let me know. CP's head's back big. Because now I'm eligible. Now I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Well, it never went down. Well,
yeah, okay.
It never went down because it was just like, all right,
just
what?
a couple losses, but nothing.
First bad season in literally
life.
Yes. Since you ever started, since '98, this is your first bad season.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. So I just got to handle this academic problem, but I'm still good. We'll bounce back. All right. So we get to the sophomore year where, fall, partying pick back up. Because now kids are back on campus, or we kind of
yes and no.
We learned a little bit.
Yes and no. Learned a little bit. Okay. So was I out there Sunday through Sunday? No.
Weekends?
No, wasn't out there. It was mainly weekends. But now CP got a girlfriend.
Okay. That's good.
CP, no, because CP leaving school when he ain't supposed to. CP going back home when he ain't supposed to.
Oh, so she's back at home.
Now I'm getting suspended because I'm missing Saturday practices and
more distractions.
And so yes. So I mean, and so in ways that the partying cut down, no, but I just ended up directing that energy into a different place, and it was definitely something else that took my mind away from the goal. Boom. Look, you need to be at the stadium at 5 a.m. on Monday.
Did you show up?
It's 5. I wake up. It's 5:30. Look, I get a text. Come see me when you wake up. You suspended for the rest of the semester.
So no indoor, even though you're running unattached, he still controlled that.
No, nothing.
Yeah, no practice.
No practice.
Okay,
no nothing.
So now you're not even around what you're there for, right?
None. Don't come to the track while practice is going on. Do not come to the track.
So now what's happening? What's going on in your head?
Now the party and pick back up, because I gotta take my mind off of it. I gotta have something else in place. So now we back to square one.
All right.
Now we back to square one. So we basically are, wow, boy, look, God damn it, Chauncey, you got me telling the untold story of why this is why you never saw a progression of CP in college.
Now I appreciate it.
Yes,
I'm glad that you meant that. You said that because I appreciate the vulnerability. Because that'll help someone that's listening. Might help you, and I feel like vulnerability has helped you because, like you said, through
definitely.
the 10 years, especially like you said when you were at Keenan, or just the 10 years before and 10 years after, like it helped with the growth.
Oh yeah, look,
right.
and you got to be vulnerable for real growth, because if you can't look yourself in the mirror and be real with yourself about your shortcomings and put together a plan to progress, then what the hell are we doing out here, man? And so but you can only reach that part through vulnerability.
Mm-hmm. So we off the team. We suspended. This is our sophomore year now.
Yep, we sophomore year.
What happens at the end of this sophomore year?
I get the phone call.
Is this so the okay? So after we suspended from track, this is the year. This is the semester.
We got one outdoor season in.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7 in the country in the 55 dash. My senior year, state champion in the 100, 2-time AAU national champion. Had one college season.
Dang.
Yeah. Yes.
I feel it.
Yes.
So this is where the
biggest life disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I let everybody down. Everybody.
Yourself included.
Myself was the biggest letdown.
Cause
like I never forget after I won the national championship in 2000 for the 14 and under 100 AU national championship down in Orlando. My dad came and basically he just a small sheet of paper literally about the size of this phone, small sheet of paper, and it had goals written on it with the years. 2000 AU national champion, 2004 state champion, 2008 NCAA champion, 2012 Olympics.
Can't reach them.
Never did. I think about that sheet of paper on a weekly basis. And I honestly believe me having those shortcomings as an athlete is the reason I go so hard as a coach now. Is because, like I told y'all, it's like that famous Jay-Z line, Hov did that, so hopefully you don't have to go through that. I did it. I'm going to share my story with y'all. And I'll tell you, I think I share the stories that a lot of adults won't share because they believe it, the kids will look at them in a bad light.
Exactly.
Not at all. I need y'all to know that in life you're going to have trials and tribulations. And guess what? And even though y'all are looking at us as authority figures, we have fucked up at times. And I'm going to tell y'all about my shortcomings. So hopefully when y'all going to get into a situation, you know what Coach Proctor told me about that. Instead of going right, let me go left. Coach told me, matter of fact, boom, I remember this. Nope, let me do something else.
Exactly. That's a big reason why I have this platform for that specific moment. Every single person on this earth goes through some type of isolation.
Right.
They deal with some type of mental health issues. And I appreciate COVID happening because it brought a lot of awareness to the social anxieties or just the smaller mental issues. Everyone, when you think about mental health, the first thing people think of is depression.
Or crazy.
Or suicide, things like that. But there are so many mental health issues and things that go on within us that people are afraid to talk about. Like you said, it starts with vulnerability. And I think that's why you were such a huge factor in our lives, the people in that, and continue to be that huge factor because you aren't afraid of what we think of you when you tell us your failures. Like you said, a lot of people might not say those things because I don't want you to. Some people in your situation might only talk about how I was a national champion at the age of 14, how I got a D1 scholarship, how I won the state championship 2 times. Some people will only speak about those things. And some people will learn from that. Oh, he's a great coach. He knows what he's talking about. Cool. Let's learn from him, right? And that'll help them in their athletic career. But just like you, that was stripped from you. Just like many athletes. At some point, athletics is going to be over.
Correct.
One of the biggest things we deal with as athletes is when it's over. What do we do? Right? And especially when it's taken from you unexpectedly.
Right.
It's even harder to figure out what we do.
When you don't get your graceful bow out.
Exactly. When you don't get to go out as the GOAT, when you don't get to go out as you wanted to, right? It's hard. Now, a lot of these mental health issues aren't coming because they've been there, but now we have to deal with them. Now, because we don't have the distractions of winning a game, playing a game. It's not even. It's always about winning. We want to win, but it's not always about the winning that distracts us or that takes away from the things we deal with, right? It's about just being around the camaraderie, the community, right? The people you're with every single day, the coaches you're with every single day. Once those things are stripped and you live your life when you by yourself in your apartment, or if you got a family, whatever the case would be, you're by yourself. You got to deal with those things.
Yes.
You gotta look in the mirror.
Bo, and that's look that I tell people all the time in your journey of healing, if that's what you want to call it, that's the hardest part. The going through the different variations of healing in my life, the hardest part was when I was really able to sit down, look in the mirror, and deal with my own shit. That's when the majority of the growth happened for me. And bro, that wasn't until a few years ago. I ain't gonna sit here and shit you. I just turned 37 last month. The majority of the maturation process for me started a few years ago.
So let's talk about that.
I had a group of brothers that was around me that weren't there to enable. Were gonna call me on my bullshit, and was going and loved on me, and helped me through using the word. And that process changed my life. And I'm a firm believer of that whole thing, which I ain't even gonna get into the whole thing, but that whole thing enabled me to have the fruitful life that I'm living right now. Beautiful career, beautiful wife, beautiful kids. I love waking up every single day. I feel like I wake up with a purpose every single day. Like, you coming in here means so much because, I mean, like, shout out to Nipsey. The highest human act is to inspire.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so I strongly believe that being able to be vulnerable and being able to have these difficult conversations allows me to inspire and to build up the young men and women that I serve every single day.
Yes, sir. And we appreciate all that inspiration that you give us. Like you said, that's why I am here. All right. There's a lot of people, and even with this platform, I want to get a lot of different variations of careers, journeys, stories, right?
Right.
Because everyone goes through it. So I don't want to just get successful people.
Right.
Right. Even though success is determined within.
Correct.
Right? But I want to.
And that's a hard one too.
Exactly. Right. And I don't
see that one word. Oh my gosh, it's going to have a million different meanings if you ask a million different people.
Exactly.
I struggle with that.
And it's something that's all changing. And I think that's another reason why we can't chase it. We're a coach. We're in athletics.
Right.
We got to win. Period.
Correct.
That's how we keep a job. One.
Correct.
Right.
Look here. Yes. my AD is very proud that I brought that trophy home.
Listen, that's one, how we keep a job, right? And one, how we are able to continue to inspire, right? If I don't have a job, I can't inspire the youth, right?
Correct.
Or the way I've been doing it, right?
Right.
So it's something that we want to do, right? But chasing success, chasing anything, right? Is hard. I read a lot of philosophy. I read a lot of stoicism. But when I'm reading, I'm struggling.
Who's your favorite Stoic philosopher?
Marcus Aurelius, right? Or Epictetus. I don't know if I pronounced that correct. But my favorite author is Ryan Holiday.
Okay.
So I haven't read a Stoic's whole entirety body of work yet. I've read all of Ryan Holiday's books, which are stories, right? Just like this, right? They're all stories of these people. He uses famous celebrities in our time. He uses famous Stoics back in the day. He even uses people that are stories from the Bible, right? Not necessarily from the religious standpoint, but stories from the Bible. And that's all he does. He tells stories through other people's life, from kings to slaves to champions to bust, like all type of things, right?
I might need to get in on these. Need to get in on
that's
these.
all I read. All I read is biographies and philosophy, because it's stories. That's all I feel like that's the highest form of education, right?
Okay.
Before books and before all these things, how do we learn? It was passed down through time, passed down through stories. Correct. Granted, a lot of these stories changed,
right?
Game and telephone, but that's how you learn. That's how you process things, right? And that's why that's all I read. But with reading these things, what's coming up now, and what I'm dealing with is, because I'm a professional athlete, but I'm always searching. We were just talking about a minute ago how I just got done playing a season, so I got money.
Right.
But then I went and worked 2 or 3 other jobs.
Right.
While doing my yoga certification. While hosting this podcast. Why? Because I'm not fulfilled. right?
Right.
And I'm in therapy now. I'm vulnerable enough to admit that I'm in therapy now because I knew I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
And especially for me to be an advocate of mental health, why not extract all your resources, right?
Correct.
Fulfillment is something that has to happen within. So success is one thing that a lot of people feel like will fulfill them.
Mm-hmm.
You've had a lot of success.
Correct.
That's not the whole thing. That's not the only thing that's going to fulfill you. You just won a
Not at
championship
all.
and you're still happy. It's not like you're sad or anything, but that one championship didn't make you or break you. You didn't ride that emotional wave.
The trophy meant absolutely nothing to me in terms of like a symbiotic thing. The fulfillment was hugging my kids after the race and them teary eyed and celebrating and happy to PR and understanding that the hard work paid off. And I mean, this was the first meet, but to see the light bulb click for them and to see the smiles and to see them starting to understand the process that I preach.
Yeah.
That was the fulfillment.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That was the fulfillment right
and
there.
you had to find that from yourself. Because given your story, right, I had one college season. You could very well be a coach like that trophy over there. That's all I want. Because I couldn't get those in college.
Right.
So all I'm going to do is chase those.
Right.
And to some people, that could be your fulfillment, right? And that's what they would choose. I'm not here to say that's wrong or right.
Correct. And look, and me either, because I love rings. I love rings and I love trophies. Shit.
Exactly. It's neither wrong or right. But like you said, you had to find something more meaningful. You had to find something that if we don't win that,
Right.
I'll still be okay.
Correct.
And you could have lost that with your kids PRing, with your kids doing the best they've ever done, and you will still be fulfilled because you don't measure your success with material, not necessarily materialistic things, but with you don't measure your
Correct,
success
yeah.
with you measure your success with what happens, what impact you give. And that's important because that's
It's halfway. It's half and half. It's half and half for me. Look, I ain't gonna shit you, bro. Look, it is half and half. Look here, I am hot at the end of the season. I don't walk away with no daggone trophies.
At least one of them.
Just one. Like, look, we better get on the podium at nationals or something. But we are not having a season where I'm leaving. What's that Denzel thing? But I'm leaving here with something. I'm leaving here with something, Chauncey.
But it's easy to do that. When you PR or because every time if you PR. Right, every time. If your kid's getting better every time, you're going to get on the trophy because you are a great coach. So you're going to get them numbers where they need to be. Right. So yeah, you're going to win. That's going to happen regardless because of what you're doing. Because like you're saying, is trusting the process.
Correct.
You're going to do that regardless. That's not something you have to focus on. You're focused on seeing those smiles at the end of those days.
Most definitely.
And that's going to bring those rings.
That means that as much as I want these daggone state championship, bro, as much as I want it, them smiles mean way. Them smiles, those hugs, the I love yous, the coach, thank you, I appreciate you. Look at those mean more. Those mean more than anything else, man.
Exactly. You were honest with us today. You were vulnerable, saying that it wasn't until recent, the past year or two, where you fully. I don't like to say get over things, but when you fully move through that isolation.
Correct.
So let's talk about that long period of time. What did that isolation look like?
Oh man, look, I'll be frank. Look, I was a shitty father. My kids loved me to death. My kids loved me to death. But I've apologized to them for this. I wasn't the best father during those times because my attention was everywhere else. And it should have been trying to be I always say, if I can be half the father that I was to my kids, if I can be anything as loving as my mother was to me, my kids will be in great shape. And it wasn't until about 4 years ago to where I can say I was becoming that. That's a long stretch of time where I wasn't shit. And I'll just be totally honest with you. You know what I'm saying? At that time, I wasn't a great husband, and failed marriage from that. Luckily, God allowed me to improve on myself, and He sent me a beautiful bride, at which I work every day to be the best husband that I possibly can for her. But during that stretch of time, I wasn't a good friend.
Yeah,
I wasn't a good friend. So still, the only thing I was worried about at that time was track and field, because I was searching for, that was the only thing that I believed that could fulfill me. And it got to a point to where that wasn't fulfilling enough. And I'll never forget this, man. This might have been back in like 2007, 2008. A great man by the name of Royce Miller. I met him at church, and he told me to meet him at the track one morning, and we met at Ridgeview. Crazy enough, we met at Ridgeview. And look, I had at that time, Ridgeview was nowhere on my radar as far as coaching there. Like this only my second year at Ridgeview now, so that was never on my radar back then. And we met at Ridgeview, and we were walking, and he said, "Charles," he said, "you're never gonna find fulfillment in the things that you're searching for."
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, and so regardless whether what listeners, whatever higher being that you serve, for him it was, he said, Charles, until you can start getting your fulfillment from self and from God, you'll never be fulfilled. And it was a few years later to where I recalled that conversation, because things was going right for me, and I just wasn't fulfilled whatsoever. And even though I had that realization at that time, it still was a stretch of years, so I still did nothing about it.
Yeah.
But I remember that conversation to this day.
So this is partly for me as well. Obviously, always for the viewers.
Let's shoot. Let's go.
So everything is going right.
Mm-hmm.
That happens a lot for a lot of people, right? Mm-hmm. And this is where I bring in that emotionally or mentally aspect of isolation, right? Because physically, everything's going right. Got the wife, got the kids, I'm winning, right? I'm doing everything. All the goals I set out, I'm doing. I'm achieving it, and it's not fulfilling. What are you thinking about that saying I'm not fulfilled, right? Because you have to bring intentions to certain things in order. So
Chauncey, it was nothing that could keep the smile on my face long. It would be moments. I had plenty of moments, but it was only a moment, and then it's back to this. What I'm learning now is just something like I'm mentally isolating myself from. I'm done. I'm out. Checked out. Nothing matters right now.
So was that physically? Was that like
it was always mental.
That's that shit.
Yeah, it was always mental. Like I'd be around my partners.
And then
but I'm not there. I'm around the family. I ain't there. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, man, it was years of that. Years of that. That's what I tell I go back to what I said earlier, man. It was that affected me for 10 years. 10, Bo.
So you said recently you've finally been able to move forward with it.
Yes.
Like, I don't like to say get over it.
Right.
What are we getting over? Right. It already happened. So it was
Correct.
over already.
Yeah.
What would you say were some tools that helped you? Right. Vulnerability was one. Being able to see it.
Surrounding myself by good brothers, man, that were willing to hold me accountable, but that was also willing to step in the ring and get in the fight with me.
Community. Yeah.
That was huge, man. I ended up developing an amazing community, that would not enable me, and I think that's a big part. We got people that surround us or that's around y'all that's telling you the bullshit is okay, and it's not, and you need to be around people that's gonna check you, with love, check me, just make sure you do it with love. You understand? And so, being able to be vulnerable with myself, being able to forgive myself was a big one. Forgiving anybody else, forgiving myself for the bullshit. That was one. So being able to look in the mirror, being vulnerable, surrounding myself with an amazing community. Also, I just got back to doing things that I loved that I got away from. Like I used to write a lot when I was younger. I got away from that. Started writing articles. Started doing podcasts. Shoot, I used to write a lot, so obviously I love the literature. I started reading more, and so I started trying to read, try to read everything I can get my hands to. You look over there, me and my wife got a nice little library over there. Both of us are readers, and really just started to understand that I feel a lot better when I'm serving others.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm lucky to be in a profession to where I'm able to do that every single day. Like I don't have to go out of my way to serve anybody. Like I'm serving all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm a coach. So just consistently being in a place to where I'm serving, whether I'm realizing it or not, has helped me as well.
Okay. Once again, like I said, I definitely want to thank you just coming on the show. Being able to once again teach me more things. Right. You're always teaching. So once again, I want to thank you for that.
I appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
And as well as all the viewers out there. So before we wrap it up, I always want to give you the opportunity to share. And like I said, I know you do a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and you started to mention a little bit of it just now. Share any of the social media, anything, promote whatever you got going on.
Okay, let me see. Well, look, y'all. Look, I just told you I'm old, so I don't remember none of my social media stuff. So I gotta pull it up on this phone if I can get this stuff going. But let me see. Let's go to Twitter because my Instagram is private, so I don't want none of these them daggone kids trying them daggone. Look, and it's just for the kids, man. Them kids will find your social media like man so fast, and it's just certain things them kids don't need to be seeing. And so
you gotta see everything.
And so my Twitter, y'all, is at Coach CP5, or you can just type in Coach CP, but the @ is at Coach CP5, man. That's my Twitter, and I'm typically talking trash about anything, track and field, sports, talking about who your favorite singer is. I probably don't agree with you, so we're gonna go to arguing about that, man. And yeah, so look, man, y'all can reach me on there. I'm always promoting what my team is doing. I'm the boys head coach at Ridgeview High School now. Got a very good team. They're doing those young men are going to be amazing towards the end of the season. Well, they already started off well. Obviously, winning the Diamond Hornet yesterday. They're going to do amazing things, man. We fly to Nationals on Thursday to go to New Balance, go to Indoor Nationals. So, yeah, man, just look, whether it's dealing with life or track and field, man, like I always say at the end of my stuff, man, just, hey, trust the process. Trust the process, and if you are going through something, remember that rainy days don't last long.